Good morning, everyone. This time we are going to start a new chapter, that is the surface chemistry. Last time we have discussed about the chemical kinetics, we have discussed about the zero order reaction, first order reaction, pseudo order reaction, their derivation, and some of the calculations. Now we are going to study about the surface chemistry. What is the surface chemistry? Before studying about the surface chemistry, we should have to know about the surface. What is the surface? Simply we can say that the outermost boundary of any of the species is considered as a surface. If I am talking about this system, that is the duster, then you will find that this is the surface of the system. Another surface, again and again. Then these are the surfaces of the solid. That means the solid contains surface on their all the sides. But when you will see any liquid, what happens in the case of liquid? Whether liquid also show the surface on all the sides? Actually, liquid is not capable to show the surface in all the direction. Liquid is only capable to show surface on the top of the liquid. In other direction, the liquid is not capable to show the surface. Reason? Because liquid is a fluid system, and this is the reason why it is not capable to show the surface in all the directions. But when we talk about the gases, whether gases are also capable to show the surface? Actually, gases are not capable to show the surface at all. Gases don't have any surface. Why they don't have any surface? Whether they are not the matter or whether they have no any boundary. Actually, when we talk about the gases, the molecule of the gases are very loosely bound with each other, and because of the reason that molecules are loosely bound with each other, these of the molecules are free to move anywhere. And if they are free to move anywhere, they are not bound within a surface, and this is the reason the surface is not available in the case of gaseous system, or in simple word you can say, due to the absence of surface tension, due to the weak intermolecular attraction force, the gases are not capable to show the surface, specific surface of the system. So now we are going to study just about the surface, and if gases don't have the surface, we are not going to study about the gases. We have to study about the solids, we have to study about the liquids and their surface only. So when we talk about some of the phenomena, then we can see we are just trying to explain that what is the surface phenomena, what are the chemistry of the surface. So when you will see this system, we are assuming that this is the system, and this is a solid system, and we are putting it in a liquid or a gaseous system. Then there will be a chance that the molecules of the liquids are entering inside the body. If this thing is happening, that means the liquid is not approaching on the surface, but that is approaching within the body, then such phenomena will be called absorption. And this absorption is a body phenomena. But there's another chance. You are dipping the solid tube or cuboid in liquid, and you are finding that the liquid particle or the solid particle is approaching just on the surface of the system. Then this is the surface, and whatever the function is taking place, that is called the surface phenomena. So the surface phenomena is taking place, and this surface phenomena is called adsorption. Surface phenomena. There's another condition, that this is the system and the liquid is approaching within the system as well as on the surface of the system. That means this is the composition of the absorption and adsorption. Then this phenomena, that is the composition of adsorption and absorption, is called sorption. and this is a bulk phenomena. So there are three different type of the functions you are seeing. The first one is the body phenomena, the second one is the surface phenomena, and the third one is the bulk phenomena, that is the surface as well as body phenomena. Now what we will have to study? We have to study about the surface. We will have to study about the surface phenomena. So we are going to study about the adsorption, and this is in our syllabus. So we will study about the adsorption. Adsorption is a surface phenomena. When we talk about some of the examples of the adsorption, the first example of the adsorption is writing on the blackboard. When you write on the blackboard, then what happens? The chalk approaches on the surface of the blackboard, and when chalk approaches on the surface of the blackboard, you find that the chalk just remains on the surface, that does not enter inside the surface, does not enter inside the blackboard. That means it is just approaching on the surface. This is just a surface phenomena, it is not a body phenomena. You can see some other example. For example, when you are taking water in glass, what happens? जब आप पूरा पानी गिरा देते हैं, उसके बावजूद भी आप देखते हैं कि ग्लास के सरफेस के ऊपर एक लिक्विड लेयर बना रहता है, और लिक्विड फिल्म रिमेन्स ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ दैट ग्लास, एंड दैट phenomena is again a process of adsorption. So you can say that these are some of the process of adsorption where the liquid, solid or gas remains on the surface of the system, remains on the surface of the system, attached on the surface of the system. And when you will talk the nature of this adsorption, whether this adsorption is a exothermic or endothermic process, you can take the example of the bath. When you take bath, you will find that the cooling effect takes place. जब भी आप नहाते हैं आपको ठंडक लगती है, that is the cooling effect. The cooling effect takes place. Why the cooling effect takes place? Because during the process of adsorption, you lose the energy, and because of the loss of energy, the cooling effect generates. You feel cold after the bath, and this is suggesting that the process of adsorption is an exothermic process. Whether adsorption also have the different classes, surely the adsorption have the different classes, and now we are going to study about those of the different classes of the adsorption. So we will study the different classes of adsorption, that is the physiorption as well as the chemiosorption. So here we are seeing the difference between physiorption and chemosorption. When you will see the difference, then first, on the basis of the name, you can easily identify that the physiorption is a physical process, whereas chemosorption surely a chemical process. So this is the first difference in between physiorption and chemosorption. So we can see that the physiorption is a physical process and chemiosorption is a chemical process. So when we are talking about the physical and chemical process, then what are the forces which will be responsible for such type of the phenomena? Surely if the process is physical, there will be some physical force which will be responsible for such attraction. So in the case of the physical adsorption, the force which is acting, that is van der Waals force. But in the case of the chemosorption, it will not be a van der Waals force, it will be a chemical force, and that chemical force is called a covalent bond. So it is the covalent bond which is responsible for the physical adsorption, in the case of the chemical adsorption, and van der Waals force in the case of the physical adsorption. Now on the basis of these of the bonds, when you will see what are the difference, then the first one, that is the physiorption, is reversible by the nature, whereas chemosorption is non-reversible. You know well that the chemical bonds are very strong, so it is very difficult to revert such type of the process. But in the case of the second one, that is the physiorption, the force of attraction is a van der Waals force, which is one of the weakest force, and because of that weak force, we can change, we can revert the process. The next one, the physiorption is a low enthalpy process. and the chemiosorption is a high enthalpy process. If we are taking two pieces of the same cloth and we are putting it in a ink solution, you will find if you are taking that cloth out of the ink after 10 to 15 minutes and we are drying, what happens after the drying? जब हम उसके बाद दोबारा उसे पानी में डाल के वॉश करते हैं, we find that almost all the ink removes from the system, because whatever the attachment was there, whatever the adsorption was there, that was a physiorption. But if you are taking the same color for the same cloth and for the same time and you are boiling the system, you are boiling the material, what happens? Because of the higher temperature, because of the higher energy provided to the system, the chemiosorption takes place, and as a result the reversibility doesn't take place. That means almost all the inks remains on the surface of the cloth. That is suggesting that the chemiosorption is a high enthalpy process that takes place at the higher temperature, whereas physiorption is a low enthalpy process which takes place at the lower temperature. And this is the reason on increasing the temperature, the physiorption decreases, whereas chemiosorption increases till a specific temperature. If you are increasing the temperature, the chemiosorption will increase, physiorption will decrease. लेकिन एक स्पेसिफिक टेम्परेचर पर जाने के बाद chemiosorption will also decrease. Then this is the difference between physiorption and chemiosorption. The next difference, the physiorption is multi-layered and chemiosorption is unilayered. Actually, what happens when the system will approach on the surface? If this is my hand is a surface and the materials are approaching on it, after approaching they will cover it, and when there will be the next layer, that will not approach on that surface, that will approach on the material which was adsorbed. So the second layer is not capable to make a chemical bond, that is just capable to make a attraction, that is just capable to make a van der Waals force with the next layer, and this is the reason the multi-layering of the chemiosorption is not available. It is only available in the case of the physiorption. When you will talk about the examples, you can take example writing on blackboard. And when you will take the example of chemiosorption, it will be writing on notebook. So when you are writing on your notebook, you can see that the process is irreversible, you cannot revert the process. But when I am writing on the blackboard, you can see I am easily capable to revert the process. And this is the difference between physiorption and chemiosorption. A table is given in your book in NCERT. You can see the references of the chemiosorption and physiorption from there. Till then, bye. Next time we will discuss about the different application of the adsorption. Thank you.